Welcome to Math with Professor V. Here's your latest series of the day. We're just going to determine whether or not the infinite series converges or diverges. So we have the sum from n equals 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n times n factorial squared times 8 to the n over 2n plus 1 factorial. So when I'm looking at the terms here of the series, the minute I see factorials, my brain just goes, ooh. Let's use the ratio test because they always cancel out so nicely. So when we apply the ratio test, we take the limit as n approaches infinity of the absolute value of a sub n plus 1 over a sub n. Now, when you've done several of these, then you can kind of start simplifying a little bit sooner. I'll write everything out, but when we take the absolute value, that negative 1 to the n is just going to go away, and I don't have a problem if my students already disregard it from the very beginning. But here, I'll write everything out. So a sub n plus 1, I'm going to go through, replace all of the n's with n plus 1. So we'll have negative 1 to the n plus 1, n plus 1 factorial, and then all of that is squared. We have 8 to the n plus 1 over, be careful here also, 2, put some parentheses, times n plus 1, and then there's still another plus 1 factorial. That's all of a sub n plus 1. We good? Okay, I put too many parentheses down here. This one's not necessary. Then if I divide by a sub n, that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of the original, so I'll just do that right now. So we'll have 2n plus 1 factorial up top. Then we have negative 1 to the n factorial squared, and then 8 to the n over here. Good? Okay, so since everything's inside these absolute value bars, negative 1 to the n becomes positive 1 to the n, which is just 1. And then same thing for negative 1 to the n plus 1. So I don't need to write them anymore. They just become positive 1s inside the absolute value bars. Also, there's no variables, there's no x's here. This isn't a power series. So we know n goes from 1 to infinity. It's not negative. I don't need to write absolute value anymore in the future steps. So let's just start simplifying and see what sort of cancellation we can have happen. So we've got the limit as n approaches infinity. And then a lot of my students sometimes struggle with this n plus 1 factorial squared. So my advice is just go back to what does it mean when you have a quantity squared, that you have it multiplied by itself, right? It's there twice. So just write it out twice separately if that helps. Write it as n plus 1 factorial, n plus 1 factorial. 8 to the n plus 1 we can write as 8 to the n times 8 to the first. And then down here in the denominator now, we have 2 times n plus 1. That's going to be 2n plus 2. Plus another 1, so now we have 2n plus 3 factorial. And then in the numerator here, 2n plus 1 factorial. Again, why don't we write out n factorial squared separately, n factorial times n factorial, and then 8 to the n. Good? Okay, so right away I see I can do a little bit of cancellation. I can cancel out 8 to the n. Let's get something a little more forceful for that. Okay, cancel out 8 to the n. And then I know I'm going to be able to cancel these factorials. So the rule is you start breaking down the larger one until it matches the smaller factorial on the opposite side of the fraction. So what I mean is like this n plus 1 factorial, I'm going to break it down. It's n plus 1 times n factorial, and I'll stop there because then I can cancel with the n factorial here. And I'll do that for this guy as well. And then the 2n plus 3 factorial, that one's bigger than 2n plus 1 factorial. So that's the one I'm going to start breaking down. So all of this is still in the limit. Don't forget to write that part. So we've got n plus 1, n factorial, n plus 1, n factorial, and 8 over 2n plus 3 factorial, that's 2n plus 3 times 2n plus 2. And then, now I stop, 2n plus 1 factorial. And then we have 2n plus 1 factorial in the numerator here, and then n factorial, n factorial. Yay. Okay, now we can have a proper cancel party. So look, n factorial, those are both gone with these two down here. 2n plus 1 factorial is gone, gone. Woohoo! So who survived? We've got n plus 1, 8, 2n plus 3, 2n plus 2. Okay, so limit n goes to infinity. I'm going to put the 8 in the front, and then we have n plus 1 squared over 2n plus 3. And then I want you to notice 2n plus 2 is 2 times n plus 1. That's also helpful because then I can cancel out an n plus 1 with another n plus 1 in the numerator. And then we have now the limit. N goes to infinity. 8n plus 8 over, let's distribute this to 4n plus 6. You can just look at the ratio of the leading coefficients, but if we want to be really precise and thorough, then let's divide top and bottom by n before we take the limit. So then now we have limit, n goes to infinity. Remember, you're not allowed to use L'Hopital's rule when you're working with the terms of a sequence or a series because they're not differentiable. So that's not an option. So we have 8 plus 8 over n over 4 plus 6 over n. As n gets large, then we know 8 over n is going to go to 0. 6 over n also goes to 0. All I'm left with is 8 over 4. That's 2. And what's important about the fact that the limit was 2? Well, I always have to state that this is greater than 1, right? Whenever we use the ratio test, we compare the value of the limit to 1. So make sure you include this inequality here as part of your solution. And then that tells me that the original sum, n equals 1 to infinity, negative 1 to the n factorial squared times 8n over 2n plus 1 factorial diverges by the ratio test. Did you get it? Okay, good. Also, if they had asked if the series converges conditionally, absolutely, or if it just diverges, the result and the work would be exactly the same. You would just say it diverges. You don't need to do AST, alternating series test, when looking for convergence or divergence of an alternating series if you are using the ratio or root test. Those are kind of like all or nothing tests. So if the series converges via the root test or ratio test, it converges absolutely. And if it diverges, it diverges. There's no converging conditionally when applying those tests. And that's a concept that's hard for a lot of students. So if you need help reviewing that, I have a video on testing for absolute versus conditional convergence. It's linked in the description. And I have like this really good analogy. I think that'll help it stay more clear or organized in your mind when you're doing that. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Did you like the factorial squared? Had you seen it before? It frightens a lot of students, but then once they see how to work with it, it's not a big deal, you know? Anyways, thanks for your support. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below how you solved it. Probably, I think everyone's going to do the ratio test, right? Nothing else would be nice. And stay tuned. I'll be working on uploading more stuff, but Calc 3, they have an exam this week, and then their finals coming up soon. I can't even believe it. They've been one of the best classes I've ever taught. I love them so much. So anyways, that's it. Also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Math with Professor V. Thank you guys so much for your support. Bye.